Good morning to all our friends in India. I'm glad to receive you all. You are a lot of people here. There is a lot of excellence center here. And we are very happy to continue this fifth session of learning together about a lot of aspects of what you need and what we can contribute in a lot of areas, especially nurseries this time. So I'm glad to pass the floor to the responsible of all the project, the Indian Israeli project in India, Mr. Dan Aluf. Please.
Thank you very much, Oded. I would like to say this is a little bit special event for me. This is the first webinar I'm managing when I'm physically in Israel. I came for a short summer break, so I'm currently here in my homeland, but at the same time missing India very much, but shortly coming back to India in a couple of weeks. So this is my personal point of view. Again, thank you, the director for MATC, our Mashav Agricultural Training Center, for initiating this activity. Today, as you said, Oded, we are conducting our fifth webinar as part of our way of coping with this COVID-19 pandemic challenge we are all facing. And this webinar is a way to keep on having knowledge transfer also when it is hard to actually engage in the activity. I would say that today we will focus on a greenhouse cultivation. Now, for me, greenhouse is on the one hand a very strong and important tool. I apologize for the background noise, it is moving in a second. So a greenhouse is a very important tool in order to differentiate the farmer and give him a lot of strength to cultivate year-round and not to be affected by the climate, the rain, the absence of rain, and so on. Because a greenhouse is actually our ability to control everything. And today we will have our greenhouse expert, Mr. Itzhak Esquira, that will actually walk us through, and I will let him in a minute take the lead. But my request from the participants is really to see what we are doing in Israel. And like always, what we do in Israel is one. What we want to do in India is tailored to India. It is never copy-paste. But I feel that the ability to have all of you see what the Israeli benchmark in greenhouse is a great starting point for a discussion. Now, most of you already established greenhouses. So what I'm asking is try to see what we are doing, what you have done. Some of you are building greenhouses. So try to see what we are doing and what you can do. And one of the things that I will try to do at the end is see what are our takeaways, what really we can take away from this webinar to our centers in India. And my last remark before handing it over to Itzhak is, remember that you need to look at your center and see how you can lead knowledge into it, how you can implement in the center itself, and how you can train farmers in their field. So with this, I finish the opening remarks, and I hand it over to Itzhak, an amazing expert in my opinion, one of the best in Israel and in the world for greenhouse, and a personal friend. So please, Itzhak, I hand it over to you.
Good afternoon, India. Good morning, Israel. We are in the center part of Israel. I can show you the picture. It's not India, it's Israel. Okay, it's a small but very compact and very diverse in climatic condition. We are right in the center part of Israel. And this special place is a youth village established in the early 90s to host orphan kids came from Europe after the First World War to host them, educate them, and give them all the accommodation needed. Okay, it's agricultural school. This is the main principal topic in this area. They have different crops, different branches, and we are here in the greenhouse. This greenhouse was built jointly with the Ministry of Agriculture of Israel, of course, to demonstrate and learn different technologies related to hydroponic to ensure year-round production, regardless the ambient condition. What we built here, it's not exactly what you will see in different regions in Israel. Here we have the whole packages, the whole package of technology, just to test different technologies and see what is the best for this area and some of it for the entire country of Israel. So this is the greenhouse. It's 1,000 square meter. We'll see inside, we'll see the whole, as I said, the whole type of technology, and I will go over each component of the greenhouse. But what we can see from outside is the height of the greenhouse, the arcs, the outside technology that's supporting the greenhouse. Since we have a lot of electricity, we need a backup generator. We have a cooling pad outside. I will explain later on from inside about the technology, but we can see chillers to cool down, just to test different regime of water temperature in different system. We have 2 chillers outside, and this is the nice entrance of the greenhouse. You can take a look up to the greenhouse. It's meteorological station. We have wind, rain, temperature, radiation, and everything related to have a good climatic control related to the ambient conditions. And this is Erez, he is the greenhouse manager. He's agronomist with a 2nd degree, with master degree, and he's also a teacher in the village. Let's go inside. Okay, a few more words about the Israeli greenhouse technology. I was for many years the state greenhouse extension specialist, and my main aim for greenhouse technology in Israel was to limit the technology to build as cheap greenhouse as possible, taking advantage of our excellent climatic condition in Israel, the diverse climatic in Israel, because what we can produce in the south, it's in the north, it's not on the south. But in those days, and we have experienced the hottest long period of heat wave ever in Israel. Last week we had something like 10 days where the temperature ranged from 42, 44 up to 50 degrees ambient. So think about what was the condition inside the greenhouse, and the relative humidity was very low. So under this extreme condition, we have to ensure a year-round supply and high quality vegetable, because Israel consumes per capita the highest amount of vegetables per capita per year. Okay, so we have other range. I hope that in our next meeting, we'll be able to see different technologies that farmers in Israel are using not this high sophisticated greenhouse, but also very, very, very cheap greenhouse to produce tomatoes, cucumber, pepper, etc., and fresh herbs, as well as fruit and flowers. So I will start talking about the structure, okay, the envelope of the greenhouse. Let me put it down. Okay, in Israel we have a standard of greenhouse. You cannot build just what you want, and if you want to get a full support from the Ministry of Agriculture, I don't know exactly how it works in India. I don't know if you have the standard, but in Israel you do have a standard, and you need to have a permit to build your greenhouse in your farm. Basically, it's technical permit, but it's must. Otherwise, you won't be able to build it. So the minimum height of the greenhouse to get a good and uniform climatic condition, in this case, it's 4.5 meter, where we are related to the height of the greenhouse to the lowest place in the greenhouse, where the getter is. Okay, not the toppest point in the greenhouse, but the lowest point of the greenhouse is the greenhouse height. Okay, the span is 8 meter. In this case, the length of the greenhouse is 20 meter, all made of galvanized steel that will last at least guaranteed for 25 years. You can see it's all galvanized, where the other entrance and high quality parts are made of aluminum. Okay, so the height is 4.5. The highest point is 7 meter. Again, the length is 20 meter and span is 8 meter. If you can mute all the participants, it will be nice because I can't hear myself. Okay, so this is the structure. We have 6 span in this greenhouse. Every greenhouse has its own what we call balcony. The distance or the width of the balcony is half of the height of the greenhouse. In this case, it's 225, where the height is 4.5. We're considering it as a service balcony. It's not a growing part, but it's a balcony that's serving the rest of the greenhouse, and it's identical on both sides of the greenhouse. In this case, in some greenhouses, we do use roof ventilation, not in this greenhouse. There are some advantages and disadvantages of having roof ventilation, depend on the greenhouse size. We found that it's more limiting factor in this area than having any advantage of using roof ventilation, ventilated greenhouse in this case. Okay, this is the basically the structure. Very important. It's built under very tough standards: Israeli standard, the European standard, the American standard, all made of galvanized, last for 25 years, guaranteed by the supplier. No rust or maintenance needed besides just tightening the cables or whatever. Now let's go into the technology, the climate control technology component. What is the first component to ventilate the greenhouse. The first component is of course natural ventilation. So we have curtains on both sides, all controlled by, and it will go through it later on, by sensors. We have a temperature, humidity, radiation sensors, but the first element to ventilate the greenhouse is the side curtain. In this moment, they are all closed because we are using the climate control system. They are down in both sides. So this is the first element, natural ventilation, especially used when the ambient temperature is lower than the inside temperature. And we are now experiencing very good condition in this time of the year. During the winter, the conditions are very, very comfortable in Israel, so we can mainly rely on natural ventilation. The next component to reduce the heat load, and this is our main problem. We are not suffering too much from low temperature, where the average temperature in Israel during the winter dropped to 4 degrees. Inside the greenhouse, we're still maintaining during the day 20, 24 degrees easily. And during the nighttime, we're managing to, without any additional heat, we're maintaining 12 to 14 degrees. So in order to reduce the heat load, we are having a shade net. Shade net, it's a movable shade net made of aluminum foil coil called aluminate. Okay. Sorry, we are not far away from the principal airport of Israel. So even though there are not too many flights, from time to time there are some cargos flying over and disturbing. Okay, so now because of the outside radiation, it's high, and we want to reduce the temperature inside. We spread the shade screen. It's 40% shade in this case. Its range depends on the crop. We have selected 40% mainly, which is good for leafy vegetables. For other crops, we could select 50 or 60 or 70%, depend on our needs. So this is the second element for reducing heat load in the greenhouse. And it's operated by temperature and light sensor. Okay, we'll see it later on. The third component, or the third layer of roof of ventilation, is the fans. It's 28 centimeter in diameter fans. In each bay, in each fan, we have, all the bays are identical. So we have one in each bay, sending or fanning upward the greenhouse. If I didn't mention it, and I didn't mention, this is the north and this is the south. The prevailing wind in this area is coming from south west, okay, from this direction. So the fan is downward the direction of the prevailing wind, tower north, and the pad is in the south. So we are throwing the air outside with the wind direction, not against the wind. Okay, so we have fan in each bay, in each fan, that keeps the plant dry, good air circulation around the plants. It keeps a good carbon dioxide level in the plants, and maximize the evapotranspiration of the plant, so the plant can cool themselves efficiently. This is the third layer. The fourth layer are the exhaust fan on each bay. We don't need that much, but in order to keep identical cells to do experiment, we placed in each one identical exhaust fan. It's 50 diameter. The capacity of each fan enable us to change the air volume in the greenhouse 40 times, at least 40 times per hour. Okay, 40 times air circulation per hour. The next level of cooling or reducing heat load are the foggers. You see, the foggers are not in use. Right now, will drop significantly low. We can add moisture from the sprinklers, and they are designed nicely to cover the whole span in order to get a very good droplet size to maximize the evaporation cooling. We have installed a pump to increase the pressure above the standard pressure of the system and take it up to 4 and 5 atmosphere. Okay, that builds a good pressure, so we can break down the droplet into the size of fog, ranging between around 25 micron droplet size. Going into the next level of cooling is the pad. Okay, the pad made of cardboard, and it's very dense. I would say net. Okay, the water is dropping from top to bottom and circulating in the system. The exhaust fan are sucking the air through the pad. The dry air pick up humidity from the pad, increasing the humidity in the air. By increasing the humidity, we are dropping the temperature. Okay, so the difference in temperature between the two sides of the fan could range easily between 10 to 15 degrees. Okay, so and then the humid air is going through the greenhouse and out of the greenhouse, and in this way we are doing it 40 times per hour. We can reduce the air exchange by, we have on each fan, we have like a dimmer that change the frequency of the engine, and we can reduce the air ventilation or increase the air ventilation depends on the setup points of that we set to create the ideal condition for this leafy vegetable. So just going over the different levels of reducing the heat load. First, natural ventilation, but by opening and closing the side curtains. Second, shading and reducing the radiation coming in to the greenhouse. Third, we have the air circulators. Then we have the exhaust fan, okay, on the side of the greenhouse. We have sprinklers. And the last in order is the pad and fan system. Okay, this is the general. I'm not going into the details how to operate it because this is really needs a lot of time, but we can keep this greenhouse with this technology. We can reduce here the heat load by 10 to 15 degrees compared to the outside ambient. So even if the temperature is outside is going up to 45 degrees or 47 degrees like we had last week, we can drop it to 30 degrees, 28 degrees, 26 degrees, and that's enable us to produce leafy vegetables, which is a winter crop, year round. I will go into the system, but this climate control enable us to know exactly how many production days it takes from planting this small transplant, high quality transplant coming from a nursery, okay, up to the commercial size. Okay, just showing you we are, what's the date today? 3rd, June 3rd. Okay, this pond was planted, as you can see here, on May 6th, which is 27 days. It's a bit late. It's ready to market. So in 25, what? I will return back to the I will return back to it later on. Okay, it takes the crop cycle ranging from 22 to 26, 28 days at the most. Okay, I talked a bit about the reducing the heat load, how we maintain a good temperature during the winter when the ambient temperature dropped to 4 degrees. And as I said, we are managing and doing very good job to keep it above 10 degrees without any additional heat. Our basic philosophy is not to put any external or additional heat. We don't want to burn any fuel, no gas, no oil, nothing. Just by retaining the heat inside and doing a good job to minimize the heat loss from the greenhouse, we can keep a very, very good night temperature. How we do it? We have a second screen on top. Right now it's folded, okay? But you can see the second below the shading screen. It's a thermal screen, could be made of different component. In this case, we are using a thermal screen which is transparent, enable us to uh, even when it's spread during the winter, we have enough light transmission for the plant to grow. Okay, during the night, of course, we are spreading it and closing the side curtain, stopping the air circulation, and that's help us to keep a good heat inside. On top of it, and I will return back while I will talk about the ponds, here we have a huge amount of water in each pond. They are absorbing heat during the day, and they are a good source for heat during the night time. And this is the way we are maintaining a good night temperature and managing our heat balance during the winter time. In order to control the climatic condition in the greenhouse, we have different sensors. This is the light sensor, okay, connected to the climate control system, the computer. You can see this white box. It's a humidity cell measuring the temperature. I will go there and show it. Okay, this is humidity cell. We have a dry sensor and wet sensor. It has to be filled with water all the time. Air circulation, because we don't want to measure the air temperature inside the box. We want something that's representing the greenhouse. So we have a fan that's sucking the air from outside, and it's open on the other side. So it's averaging the air temperature inside the greenhouse. Let's see the ארון חשמל. Okay, this is the electric board. You can see the complexity of the system. We have many engines, we have many components, and everything has to be controlled. And the controller is this. We can program it. We can access it from outside and from the office. Okay, but here in the greenhouse, you can change the set points according to the crop needs, different seasons needs different set points. During the day, we are splitting the day to at least 6 segments of the day because we need different conditions during the morning, night, the first part of the night, the last part of the night, the afternoon. So we are changing the set points, not every day, we're just programming it in advance, but if you want to change, we can change it while we're here in the greenhouse. Something I didn't mention when we enter inside, this is the entrance. We cannot open the 2 doors at the same time. If in this case, we will have an alarm that will declare that we are doing something wrong, and the fan is open just to throw a bag. If we are entering with insects, it will clean us and keep the greenhouse free as much as possible from insects. Okay. Now going into the growing system. We have 2 main systems. Although we are emphasizing our technology on the pond, but we are comparing it with NFT. Okay, let's go. What's the technology we have here? It's basically it's a very simple system and could build by any available component you have in India or in other place. You can use bricks. You can use blocks. You can use metal frame. Okay, always made of galvanized metal. It has to be very strong. So we built the frame. Okay, after good soil preparation, the next stage is to build the frame. Okay, the depth of the pond in our case is 40 centimeters in depth. We can play the reason why we did it 40. We didn't know at that time when we built it if 20 is better than 30 or 40 is better than 30. So we decided to go for the 40 and find out this is the right depth of the pond adapted to our condition. Okay, so the water in hydroponic must be circulated all the time. The main problem in our climate to use hydroponic growing system is the temperature. The main problem with when the temperature is going up, the oxygen dissolves less in the water, and oxygen is a must part for adequately growing plants. Okay, if you can see when you have a blackening roots in when you grow in water, the meaning is you have less oxygen. And if the roots are white and clean, as in this case, the meaning is we have good oxygen. So one more point is, since it's experimental greenhouse, each pond operated independently. Okay, this is not the case in commercial greenhouses, but in this greenhouse we have 8 units where we can compare different water temperature, different fertilization regime, water circulation, what else? Height of water, and actually different crops, different varieties we can measure. So each one of them, they are all identical, but fully independent. Okay, so the water in the pond are constantly circulated. We have, if you can see here, we have a pipe. The water is going down to this water tank. Let me open one.
איציק, רק 5 דקות, בסדר?
Okay, so the water, by gravitation, the water is running from the pond to the tank. And here, if we want to add more water or control the water level, we are doing it from here. There is a pump inside that taking the water and pushing it to the towers. The reason we're having the towers are to cool down the water and to increase the oxygen level in the pond. So it's all the time running, cooling. It's working like pad and fan. We are opening the water, increasing the surface of the water, cooling down, and increasing the oxygen level inside the water. And it's running constantly and identically in each pond. Okay, so we can control by all those valves the amount of water circulation, because during the winter we need less circulation, and in the summer we need more circulation. After 3 years, this is the 3rd year where this greenhouse is running. We know how to operate it. In the beginning it was very difficult. Nowadays it's running every day. You can look at Erez, the greenhouse manager. He's packing what he harvested now, and at the second part of okay, keep it. Okay, this is the final product after 26 days of Roman type lettuce. And in the afternoon, the kids from the youth village will come and plant those transplants in the tray. I will show you the tray. Okay, it will be, of course, cleaned and planted and place it back in the pond. So No, we are not losing time in the circulation, not soil preparation, fumigation, whatsoever. Just harvest and immediately replant at the same time. So the efficiency of, of this system is very high. The overall production in the greenhouse could go up to 250 to 300 heads per square meter per year versus going outside, it's about 25 to 30 heads only. So it's 12 times more efficient to grow it in the greenhouse, in hydroponic, than outside. So if we want to increase our income, our benefit, and ensure year-round supply, this is one of the good systems that could be used for this purpose. It's not only for lettuce, but could be used for other leafy vegetables. In our case, now we are still emphasizing on lettuce because this is what generating income, good income and demand, and the money, of course, is going to the village. And this is the market that we have.
Itzhak, I think we should start summarizing, and I want to be able to raise the questions our participants are putting. So if you can conclude the field visit and move to the stage of Q&A.
Okay, give me just 1 second. I will show the NFT system. Okay, and you will go to Q&A. Okay, just showing you the this is the NFT system. We tested. It's not good for our condition because if you have a water problem for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you have lost your crop. Okay, we are testing different crops. This is basilicum planted 10 days ago, and it will be harvested in 10, 15 days from into those gullies. Okay, going down to the gather and recirculated into the system. The main reason why it's empty because of the problem we are facing with this system, and we have to cool down the water all the time with the chillers that I showed you early on outside of the greenhouse. Okay, we are running out of time. Let's go to the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Itzhak. It was fascinating. I am actually sure I'm speaking on behalf of everyone. It was a wonderful field visit to a high-tech greenhouse. I will divide the questions into two groups. For me, I try to precise them in a way that the question and answer will be short. And I'll start with the more technical questions. First question that I wrote for myself is, when you move into the design phase of a greenhouse, when you design the greenhouse, how would you suggest we define the solution mainly of climate control in terms of the size of the greenhouse? So the spacing between the fans, the pad, and so on. What is the principle, and also what would you suggest practically? Should it be with the company, with an expert coming from the government, and so on?
Okay, yeah, asking, since we don't have much time for it to answer your question, it's the most important question, but you need to ask the expert. There is no tailor-made, okay? We cannot make just cut and paste. I'm doing it with every farmer in Israel that's going into the hydroponic system. Different location, different climate, different needs, different plot, different soil condition. You cannot design the same greenhouse for Kerala and Amritsar, for example, or Mumbai and New Delhi. It's a completely different condition for different needs. First, we need to analyze the climatic condition in the area, having all the data, and from there, going on. I, average. I know some Israeli farmers that installed 500 square meter of hydroponic for selling lettuce to the neighbors, and other that constructed 20,000 square meter. Of course, different technologies. In Israel, the labor cost is very high, and how do you design with more technology, with less technology, if it's for family operated system or for a company? Each one needs a different approach.
Understood.
But we need a good market analysis. Second, climatic condition from the area, and from there to move on.
Thank you. The second technical question is regarding the relative humidity. So something that I see also in India, sometimes there is a misunderstanding between foggers and micro sprinklers. And when you aim to reach a droplet of the size of 25 micron, can you just, in short, give us a comparison what you receive when you use a micro sprinkler and what you receive when you use a fogger? And what should you do in a case of a greenhouse like you are sitting in?
Okay, there is a big difference between micro sprinklers than foggers. It's not, it's like comparing a horse and a train, okay? Or elephant and a chicken. There's nothing between them. They are both, of course, source for water, but sprinklers, the droplet size aim to wet the plant or the soil. Fogging system, the droplet size should evaporate before reaching the plant or the soil. The size of droplet as defined for fogging is between 5 to 25 micron. Droplet in most of the sprinklers are ranging between 100 to 250 micron.
Definitely.
Okay.
I would say,
so
just to emphasize,
if you want, what?
Just to emphasize what you're saying, I think really when we design greenhouses here in India, you must be experts. You must really understand what you're asking for and why. So as Itzhak is saying, it's two different tools in your toolbox for two different reasons. One is actually irrigating. The second is helping you to do climate control.
Okay, so you can use sprinklers in emergency case to cool down, but it's very, very, very dangerous to use them in your greenhouse because you can immediately suffer from humid disease in the greenhouse or from bacteria, something you are really don't want. You want to protect your investment. So you have to be very, very careful when you're selecting the technology for your greenhouse. It's not just saying fogging or sprinklers, and even fogging system could end up as sprinklers if you don't have a good pressure in your pipe. If you will end up having, if the producer says 4 atmosphere and you have a pressure of only 1 atmosphere, it won't break down the droplet. You will stay with a very high size of droplet that will wet your plants. So you need to follow the instruction and build your system precisely.
Thank you. Here I'm moving to a different batch of questions, which are for me more managerial or more, you know, really looking from above on the greenhouse point of view. So the first question is, if you need to guide us, what is unique about Israel and the Israeli approach when we talk about greenhouses, in terms of technology, but also in terms of mindset? So if you need to put in a short definition, what is unique about the way Israel and Israelis are doing in the field of agriculture, in the greenhouse, please?
As a joke or seriously?
Seriously.
Okay, seriously. I think our main advantage compared to the northern countries, we know how to manage greenhouses under hot climate. This is the fundamental issue that the world is facing, and we have the most experienced technology in this regard. We came into it from very low technology, taking advantage of the ambient condition, just giving you a general prices between the European type and the Mediterranean, the Israeli type of technology. We can produce nicely under net house, which will cost you, let's say, $10 per square meter, okay, with a nice yield of 20 kg of tomato per square meter, versus the minimum investment in Holland, which is in the range of $300 per square meter. Okay, you will produce 3 times more, but the cost of production and the cost of the investment is 30 times more. We have a wide range of technology that could suit different farmers, different pockets, and different needs. We are trying to adapt the plant to the basic technology and not vice versa of optimizing the growing condition, which is the European approach. This is why we can produce under protected condition low cost versus the high cost of the European. And this is, I would say, the biggest difference between the Israeli approach and the European approach.
Thank you. The last question before we summarize is the point of subsidies. The question is, what are the subsidies the Israeli farmer is receiving? I think, again, in the light that we are talking with our Indian partners, just to give them a sense of the ecosystem in Israel in this regard.
In Israel, it's varied, and it's depend on the economical situation at the same year, but it could run from 20% to 40%, depend on the technology. Nowadays, every investment on water saving is getting up to 50% subsidy from the government.
Yeah.
Greenhouses, okay, there are preferred area and non-preferred area. Of course, the expensive, it's a political issue. Okay, if the government wants to subsidize the desert area, so sometimes they will get a much higher subsidy than the one who lives in the nearby the capital. Okay, so I cannot say there is a fixed price. It range from year to year. I would say that our main problem is labor. The cost of labor is very, very high in Israel. We are importing most our farm workers from Thailand. Uh, Local people don't like to work because the conditions are very tough. But nowadays, with high technology, yes, I can see more young people coming back into the farming because there is high tech. It's appealing to them. Food production is very sexy. Uh, so the technology and high technology attracting people, and we can see more and more people coming into it.
Thank you, Itzhak. So we have a few more questions, but we will not address them. I actually suggest perhaps to send the answer to the questions we didn't answer following this webinar. So we will do it accordingly. I do want to summarize and first of all say thank you very much, Itzhak. I feel the ability to see such a level of a greenhouse is an eye-opener, and because we are all a group of experts, it will also initiate, which it already did, a very mature dialogue and questions that is happening now. So therefore, I want to say a few points to all of us. We must remember that we are experts, and because we are experts, the set of expectations that we should bring and fulfill are that when we have a greenhouse already in our center, we should actually compare it to what we saw today and say, are we actually in this benchmark? Within this, maybe other questions will be raised. Should we be in the same benchmark? Should we lower the benchmark in India? Should maybe tailor it, as we said, and create a new type of benchmark to the Indo-Israel centers? But what I'm asking you as leaders, as people that are working in our centers, question yourself, question us, and try to evaluate if we are where we want to be, because we are presenting excellence. And this is a goal that we put to ourselves. So first of all, be expert. Secondly, those of you who are going to establish greenhouse, please be expert in the stage where you are designing. So when you put a tender for a greenhouse to your center, make sure that you are putting the right specifications. And if you're not sure, work with us, with me, with Itzhak, because it's a very important junction, the tender. Secondly, when it is being established, you are not sitting in your office. You need to be in the field and actually monitor that what you ask for in the tender is being done in the establishment phase. So you have to be every day there to see the depth of the pillar, the quality of the net, the infrastructure that is putting there, the specification of the sensors, and so on. So also in the establishment, you have big responsibility. The third is make sure that when the greenhouse is finalized and established, you are getting the key to the greenhouse after you actually approve that what you asked for has been established. And then your responsibility is to maintain it. So this greenhouse is not for 7 years. It should be for 25 years. So you need to maintain your infrastructure and you need to know how to do it. And if you don't know, again, work with us as a team. And of course, be an expert on how to manage the technology. Know the agronomy, know the technicalities, know how to do it and improve. So this is number 4. And number 5, to much extent, is the most important: generate knowledge. Put together protocols. Deliver the protocols to the farmer by building models of training. Make sure the farmer is coming to your center to see it. Make sure that you go out to his greenhouse in his field and explain to him all these steps of design, of establishment, of maintaining, and of course of agronomy management. But it should always correlate. So this is the big part I wanted to say. And last but not least, there should be a business model that is justified. So when you put a technology in India, you need to understand it has a return on investment. It really is justified. And this is part of the copy-paste that can never happen, because the economy and the business model of Israel is different than the economy and the business model of Mizoram, of Punjab, of Maharashtra, and of Tamil Nadu. So every time you put it, you need to look into your ecosystem and make it happen. So for me, this is a summary. I will ask Itzhak if he wants to say a few last words before we wrap up the webinar. Please, Itzhak.
No, nothing else to say. We can start.
Thank you. So I thank you very much, Itzhak. I thank you, Yuval, from MATC, which was holding the camera and working with Itzhak. Thank you, Oded and Omer, MATC.
Come on, Yuval. Yuval. This is
Hello, Yuval. And thank you, of course, my Indian partners and colleagues for joining us. We had 77 participants in this webinar. Thank you for continuing. I can already say we have next week another webinar, this time about pomegranate. We will share the information shortly. And I hand it over to Oded. Thank you.
Just a last word. I would like to thank also Omer and about this facilitating this meeting, and last and not least, Dr. Ilana Tischler, which is the principal of this school in Ben-Shemen. I would like to send her our thanks. Please do it, Yuval, when you pass through her office. So see you next week. Bye.
Thank you, Oded.